All right, welcome to Simple Teen Success. I am thrilled that all of you are here today. Well, this is pre-recorded. This is actually my daughter's 23rd birthday, so we're going to be at dinner probably while you're watching this, but I didn't want to miss time with you, even though it's through video, sharing with you some things I think can really help you. Because as you know, I believe that you are a fantastic investment. There's only one of you. God made you an OG, you're an original. There's no other copy like you, and I believe that you should be the best version of yourself. So I want to help you remember today that you're valued, that you're important, and we are all better because you are here. But really, just because you were born is why we are all better. So I am grateful and thankful for all of you. Well, couple changes because we're taping this. We're not going to have Here Comes the Money. There's not going to be that cool music. You get the cool shirt, and of course, you get me. But what I'll do is we'll probably spend 20 minutes or so together, 20, 25 minutes, but it's going to be fun. So thank you for being with me today. I appreciate that. Well, life skill number one, I want to hit you with. And if you've got your handout, I know some of you fill out the handout, but it's a great way to follow along as we go through this. And also keep notes because you'll be shocked at what happens is when you write it down and you hear it at the same time, it doubles your learning. And it's a way to sort of cheat the code in terms of how to learn and implement things a whole lot quicker. It's how successful people become even more successful. You'll often hear people and watch them if they're hearing a speaker or they're talking to someone, they're taking notes. They don't want to forget the good stuff that someone might be giving them that could help them make money, deepen a relationship, even come up with a brand new business idea. It's happened to me on many occasions, and I believe it can happen for you as well. All right, so life skill number one, resilience is the secret to riding the roller coaster. I want to tell you a quick story. How many of you like roller coasters? Man, I love roller coasters. So a couple years back, here in Arlington, Texas, where I live and we broadcast this from, we have Six Flags Over Texas. And one of my favorite roller coasters is the Titan. Now, it's one of these roller coasters where it has this big launch and then this big drop, okay? And for the longest time, I thought, man, I want to hold my hands up on the way up, but also on the way down. But I was nervous and scared and worried. And I had to come to a realization. One day, my son had some friends with him, and I told them what my goal was. And one of his friends said, Mr. Kinney, just be courageous, just do it. And I was like, dude, the fact that he told me that just invigorated me. And I'm like, okay, if he's going to tell me that, now I got to do it. And so I went through this process in my mind. This is going to sound funny, but it helped me. So the drop on the Titan is probably 2.5 seconds at most. And I had to realize, okay, the odds of me falling out are pretty low. You're buckled in, you're in pretty tight. And then I had to realize, and this is going to sound crazy, but I realized if I were to fall out, I'd probably die pretty quickly. But the odds of that happening are very, very low. And so I just had to lean into it, but I had to pre-decide. I had to pre-decide before I even got on the roller coaster, I am going to keep my hands up on the way down because if I'm going to make the decision on how I feel when I'm about to drop, probably not going to do it. So the moment of truth came. We're going up, and here it is. And I'm feeling it. 1 second, 2 second, and then you know that going under the tunnel there, and you feel so good that you crushed your fear. I kept my hands up the rest of the ride. It was awesome. I tell you that because when you face fear, it often just takes a couple seconds to pre-decide how you're going to respond before you're in the moment and waiting to see how you feel. Because feelings often lead to fueling the fear, and we don't want that for you. So resilience is the secret to riding the roller coaster. You know, what we find is that most successful people are those people who fail a lot. Now, you might be thinking that, well, I thought successful people, Derek, always were successful, that everything went for them. You might hear this term, they have the Midas touch, or everything they touch turns to gold, that everything they do is great. But when you talk to them and you sort of peel back the curtain, what they tell you is they fail a lot. And if you watch baseball or you played baseball, this is a good example for you. So, baseball is one of the hardest sports. Most athletes will tell you that to hit a fast moving small ball with a wooden stick, essentially a bat, is super hard. Okay. And what they find is that if you can get a hit 1 out of every 3 times, you are one of the highest paid baseball players, meaning that you're failing 2/3 of the time. So if you have a 300 batting average or 333, that's an incredible batting average in baseball. But what that means is that every time you walk to the plate, you're going to strike out, somebody's going to catch the ball 2 out of 3 times. And so when you begin to think like that, oh my gosh. So what you're telling me, Derek, is that the path of success is filled with potholes of failure. That's exactly what I'm telling you. And when you begin to expect that, then when you step in a pothole or you fall off in the ditch and you get back up, you say, oh, this is what Derek talked about. This is part of the path to success, are sometimes potholes of failure. But what determines the successful person from the non-successful person is this, and it's very, very simple, is they pre-decide that when I step in a pothole or I get knocked off in the ditch, I am getting back up. But I'm going to get back up with the knowledge of what caused me to step into the pothole or to fall into the ditch. The worst thing to do is keep stepping back in the same pothole over and over again. So you want to learn, oh, okay, that's why that happened. So I'm not going to do that next time. That significantly increases the likelihood that you'll not only not step in that same pothole, but you will advance even further. Now, there may be deeper potholes down the road, but that's the pathway to success. So let me pause for a moment. Pause. Does that make sense? Okay. So remember, failing is part of success, and we like to call that resilience. For example, I was watching the NBA Finals last night. Celtics versus the Mavericks, and two good teams. I mean, the Celtics just really did a great job. And what I find is when one of the players would miss a shot, I didn't see them run off to the sideline, start to cry, ask the coach to take them out of the game. I'm done, coach. I'm failing. I just can't do this. No. What they typically do is they want the ball even quicker the next time to take the next shot. You see, competitors, people who are resilient, know that they have the skill set, they have the value, they just have to keep doing it to achieve results. So, all right, hopefully that helps you today. It certainly has helped me. And I will tell you, when you take people to coffee, like we talk about, coffee is the smell of money. They will tell you when you ask them, hey, what's the biggest mistake that you've learned the most from? Good question to ask somebody. You'll be surprised what they tell you. Or, what was the last big mistake you made? And they might tell you, well, that was yesterday. Because we're always making mistakes. But the successful people learn from them. All right. So normally we would do Here Comes the Money, but I'm in a good mood. I'm in a really good mood today. So here's what I'm going to do. Text me. The first person who texts me at my cell number, 817-798-5000, just text me. You're going to win a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card. 817-798-5000, $10 Chick-fil-A gift card. And just put your name and your email address, and we will get that out to you. So appreciate you being here. And hey, the key is to take advantage of opportunities, and there's the doorway right there. All right, so money success skill. Now, I like money, and here's why I like money so much. Money is so fun because you're adding value to people's lives. You're actually helping make people's lives better, and then they're paying you for that. And then you get to do things that you enjoy with your money. Now, one of the things I enjoy is giving and supporting causes I care about. But what it does is money gives you choices. Some people say money is bad. Or some people say that people with a lot of money are bad, but it's simply what you do with the money. And I believe you want to make a lot of money so that you can do a lot of good with it. And it gives you so many choices. We all want purpose in our lives, but especially, you've heard me say this many, many times, that a teenager with a plan and a purpose is and has a superpower because people love a teenager that has a plan and a purpose. It is so, so powerful. So here's what we're going to talk about. Money success skill. Overnight success typically takes many, many years. Now I want to read something to you here. So Michael Jordan. We all know Michael Jordan, former Chicago Bull All-Star. Many people regard him as perhaps one of the best. Well, he is one of the best, but he might be the best basketball player in history. I've got a couple Jordans in the closet, the shoes, love wearing them. So Michael Jordan led the Bulls to 6 NBA championships, and he said he recognized the value of failure. So here's what he said. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've almost lost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. You see, I just want to tell you, some of you watching right now might have been told, you know what, you're too young. You're not smart enough. You don't have the experience. You're not good looking enough. Good news for all of us. It's all about your drive and your goals and your desire to be successful. Man, some of you know this. When I was young, I was teased. My nose is larger than the national average. I was teased mercilessly about my nose. It was terrible. It took me to a very, very dark place. And what I realized was I could either live in that dark place or I could fight my way out. And that's what I chose to do. And I began to become more extroverted. I actually ran for class office. That decision changed my life, taught me a valuable lesson of how to help other people and give other people a voice so that they're heard and they're valued and they feel important and they're part of something bigger. And that's what I want for you. You might get teased, you might get told you're not good enough or smart enough, and I would just tell you to say this, cancel. That's not who I am. And you know and hold dear that you are going places. It's only onward and upward for you from here. But again, you're going to face obstacles, you're going to face challenges, but know that is the pathway to success. So overnight success typically takes many, many years. So there's an expression, so NASA, when they wanted to put somebody on the moon, can you imagine all the technology and the electronics? I mean, now, supposedly, I'm no tech expert here, but supposedly there's more tech in your cell phone than what they used to put the first man on the moon, which is crazy how much technology we have in our hands. But what somebody said was you'd be pushing it to see how much you can accomplish in a year, but you could be shocked by what you could accomplish in a decade. If you are diligently focused on something and you give it your all and you stay focused and you say no to things that take you off track of your goals, you'll be amazed by what you can accomplish over a long period of time. And the example is when a rocket takes off, it usually uses a large portion of its total fuel to overcome the gravitational pull of the Earth. But as soon as it gets beyond the gravitational pull, the rocket can virtually coast through the rest of the journey. And just like that rocket, when you start something or do something, typically the hardest time is the beginning. As I like to say, you're going to burn the most brain cells. You're going to have to concentrate and you have to put your phone on do not disturb so that you can think and you can focus and you can listen to the ideas that are coming to you so that you can take action. There's a story about a guy named Thomas Edison, who back in the day invented the light bulb, a variety of things. But the story goes that as a young inventor, companies would pay him to think of ideas for them. So he would sit in a room, they would give him an idea, and he would think about how you could make that happen. And one of the things that he did was he kept meticulous notes. Because one thing that people can find themselves doing, especially successful people, they go so fast, they tend to repeat the same mistake over and over again. And they wonder why. They're successful. Why is this happening? Well, the reason is they have a short memory. Oftentimes, people that move fast tend to forget what happened even minutes ago. They're always focused on the future. But by taking notes and realizing and noting this did not work, they keep a did not work list, then they can go back and say, okay, don't do that. And by not doing what didn't work, it causes them to get quicker to what works. Does that make sense? So what I'm giving you today is a simple formula for success. You've got to do stuff. You've got to try stuff. See what you like, see what you're good at, and see what it takes to get there. But make notes on, that didn't work. I wonder why, and take notes on that. Because what you'll find in life is, and please, if you take away anything else from today, remember this: focus on your strengths and focus less on your weaknesses. You're going to get more lift and more success by really developing your gifts and what you're good at than by trying to get better at what you're not good at. Okay? You can work on both, but one of them, what you're already good at and how can you get better at it, is going to be a better way to go, if that makes sense. All right. So here comes the money number 2. All right. So you caught me in a really good mood again. Okay. Feeling good. Here's what we're going to do. The next person to text my cell number, 817-798-5000. I did a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card last time. This will be a $10 Chipotle. We'll do Chipotle. Yeah, $10 Chipotle gift card. Who doesn't like Chipotle, right? So text me 817-798-5000. Put your name and your email address, and the first person that I see do that, we will send you that Chipotle $10 gift card. Hey, just for taking action. All right. Now, what I want to do now, I want to tell you a story, personal story. So some of you know I really love to be on live TV. I love it. And I recorded a reel on Instagram last week, and I was just talking about what are things that what brings out the best in me? And I would ask you the same question. What is it that when you do it, you just feel alive? Like it might be sports, it might be acting, it might be working, it might be a hobby, whatever it is. What is it that when you're doing it, you're like, man, this is so much fun. Not that it's always super, super easy. It might be, but you just feel good doing it. And for me, there's 2 things. I call it the 2 S's. Being in a studio on TV and being on a stage talking to people. I love it. So this was 2 weeks ago. I was booked to speak to a group of advisors, financial advisors up in New Hampshire, of all places. So I'm literally in line to board the airplane to fly to Boston, and then I would take a rental car from Boston to New Hampshire. And I get a call on my cell phone, and I don't recognize the number, but I can tell from the prefix it's coming from New York City. And a voice inside, I think it was the Holy Spirit, just reminded me, you need to pick up this call. I picked it up, and what I heard next shocked me. Derek, this is Fox News. We want you to come on with Neil Cavuto at 4:45 Eastern today. So just so you know, Fox News, big TV station, and Neil Cavuto is one of the best business anchors that I know. I've worked with him for many, many years, but I love being on his show. So I quickly said yes. And then we began to figure out, how do we do it? So there was a studio in Boston, there was one in New Hampshire. We realized the better bet was the one in New Hampshire, because the event I was going to speak at the next day, they were having a dinner the night before, so I wanted to go to that. Now, what I realized was that there was a puzzle then. The studio had to get my luggage. I had to put it 6 rows back on the airplane, got that, got the rental car. Then I realized there was not going to be time to change my clothes at the hotel and make it to the studio. This was going to be blow and go. So I changed in the airport bathroom, of all things. And walked in with my regular clothes on, came out with my suit on, and then hit it and got there with 14 minutes to spare. So the lesson for you, if there is one here, is this. Sometimes when opportunity knocks, Just say yes and then figure out how you're going to do it. Sometimes just say yes and then figure out how you're going to do it. I call that placing a bet on you. Because what can often happen is overthinking leads to stinking thinking. In other words, if you begin to wonder, well, I don't know if I can do that and how it would work, by the time you begin to have self doubt and overthinking creeps in, the opportunity has gone to somebody else. So sometimes you just have to say, pardon me, yes, and then figure it out. And you'll feel so good about it. It doesn't always work out perfectly, but you'll know that you're betting on yourself and you believe that you have what it takes in that moment to make that opportunity happen. So it was so cool to be on TV when the earpiece popped in my ear and Fox News said, Derek, it's great to have you here. I made it by 14 minutes. And then when I went to the event that night, it just felt good knowing that I said yes. I said yes and didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew inside it would because it was a bet on myself. And so I want to tell you, I believe right now, this is why I'm talking to you both, talking to all of you right now, is I believe in you. I believe that you are a great investment. You are all part of what I call my people portfolio. You're worth it. You're worth it. And I believe in you. And it'll be fun to see a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, where you go. But remember these basic skills you're learning because they benefit people who are in their teens and in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 80s, 90s. These are the skills they need to succeed. So as we wrap it up, here's a question that I want you to ask your parent this week. I remember the good question last week. I loved it. This question, and your parents will love this as well. What chore around the house do you wish I would remember to do without you reminding me? How about that for a great question? Okay, question to ask your parent. What chore around the house do you wish I would remember to do without you reminding me? All right. Now, I know it's summertime and it's a great time though to have a 10-day goal. And what I'm going to tell you is this is what propels people to success. They carve out maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour a day for personal growth. Now, I'm a big Bible reader, want to pray and so forth. That's critical to start the day. What I would tell you though is think about something that you enjoy or want to learn more about. Maybe you want to learn how to do content creation, or you like woodwork, or you want to be a better soccer player, or you want to be a writer or record something or launch a business. YouTube courses, there's a variety of things that if you were to wake up 30 minutes early, an hour earlier, or even in the summertime, stay up a little bit later. The key is to work on your knowledge. You could literally go back to school having a knowledge base that could begin to make you money and even make you a better student. So use the time well, but think about what is one thing that over the next 10 days you want to focus on. It could be, I need to have a conversation with a friend who I feel like the friendship is not where I want it to be. I'm going to commit over the next 10 days to have that conversation. Or I'm in a relationship with somebody that it's not working. We need to talk about it. Or, you know what? I do need to ask that person on the date. Or I need to take the risk. Or, you know what? I want to meet with Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith and take them to coffee and share my plan with them of what I want to do for my future and get their input. Whatever it is, make a point to decide now. And then what I would tell you is say, you know what? In the next 48 hours, I'm going to schedule this. Decide now and then work on getting a date to schedule that and put it in your calendar. I'm going to have this conversation. I'm going to have coffee with this person and get it scheduled. Because if you leave it to yourself to decide, do I feel like it? Am I in the right mood for this? You'll typically never do it. Just like when I was at the top of the roller coaster, if I waited to decide if I was going to put my arms up in the air based on how I felt, I would have never put my arms up in the air. So decide now. All right, we're going to wrap it up. All right, you caught me. You guys catch me in a great mood. We're going to do one last giveaway here. So text me a takeaway. Text me one thing one thing from our conversation today that helps you, that you could apply right away, that you would say, Derek, what you said here was really, really solid. I can apply that. Text that to me, 817-798-5000, 817-798-5000. And the first person that texts that, let's see, we did a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card. We did a $10 Chipotle gift card. Let's do a $10 Dutch Bros gift card. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, we talk about coffee as a smell of money. We ought to give some coffee away as well. So, hey, as always, thank you for joining us on Simple Teen Success, where you are valued, you're important, and we are all better because of you. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate y'all. See you soon.